My name is Premal Shah, and I'm co-founder and president of Kiva.org. Kiva.org is a website that allows you to look through profiles of low-income entrepreneurs, students, and farmers in over 80 countries around the world, including here in the United States. And you can actually finance them. You can make a loan in $25 increments to help meet their dreams. Now, the great thing is, as their loan is fully funded, it's crowdfunding of microfinance, they will then basically start or grow their business, and as they repay that loan, the money actually comes back to you, and then you can turn around and re-lend that money, helping other people, or withdraw that money out of the system in case you need it yourself. Over 1 million people have made loans in these $25 increments to over 1 million small businesses, 3/4 of which are women-run around the world. And the repayment rate on $500 million that has been lent out via the website is 98%. The way I got interested in a career in social impact really starts with where I was born. I was born in India, and I was one of the lucky ones in the birth lottery in that my parents were able to relocate from a village in India to Minneapolis, Minnesota. They were both engineers, and they were able to provide opportunities for my brother, sister, and myself to get educated, to have access to resources. And when I'd go back to India and go back to that village every year, I would see children in the same neighborhood who didn't have access to the same opportunities that my brother, sister, and I had, just because of where they were born. And that always left an impression on my heart, why we live in a world where talent is distributed equally, but opportunity is not. If you think back 20 years ago, the way philanthropy might have been done is you might write a check after receiving something in the mail from an organization, and you kind of hope, just based on the brand of that organization and what they say in that letter, that it'll do some good. Or you might attend a really nice dinner or a gala event and be inspired in that moment and then write a check. Technology has allowed us to actually make philanthropy much more efficient, much more connective, and actually create feedback loops around where that money goes and how that impact has been made or not been made. And when people get those feedback loops and when they can connect with the impact, it unlocks so much more good. And so in a day where we can now find love online on sites like Match.com, you have to ask, why can't we actually find where to actually give most effectively on sites like Kiva or Global Giving or Donors Choose? That's the new possibility. It allows us to find things that are along our values, whether it's in education or health or whatever the issue is, read about it and then have those feedback loops, because the cost of creating that feedback loop between donor and beneficiary has gone down dramatically. I talk to people who make loans on Kiva all the time, and one of the things that I hear is how often they enjoy doing this with their children as a way to actually learn not only about philanthropy, but really about geography, economics, because you get to study how people make a living around the planet. So whether it's a rickshaw driver in Pakistan or a bakery in Oakland, California, you can read about that small business, and then you can participate in their success. And this is particularly exciting for young people for whom maybe their first impression of Africa could be one of hopelessness or just deep poverty, in a way that almost turns people off from feeling like they really can do something about it. But what we try to do on the Kiva website is present stories of how entrepreneurism and how you as their lender can participate in their journey, how it's actually part of a virtuous cycle and believing in one another, and that's how we're going to make steady progress in some of these big issues. So the key thing is these online websites that allow you to make loans or donations, we want to help give insight into some of these big problems by making the problems human scale, so you can actually pick a person. Mother Teresa said, if I try to help the masses, I won't act. But if I try to help the individual, I will. The whole goal is to actually help people connect with individuals that are on the other side of the philanthropy, and really smart philanthropy helps create systemic change. It's not simply a palliative that addresses the symptoms of deeper root causes. One of the most empowering feelings that people have when they're making a loan on Kiva is if they only have $50 or $100, they know that they can't change the world, but they know they can change the world for one person. Now what gets really exciting is even for one person, if a woman in Kenya needs $400 to buy a cow to start a dairy business, you don't have to finance the full $400. You can put in $25 and another dozen people can chip in different amounts, and you can watch that thermometer move within minutes to help fully crowdfund that loan. Basically, doing social impact can be a social activity where we all realize, you know what, the world's not such a bad place. It's actually not so cynical. There's actually complete strangers who are willing to help one another, and what we enable when we can actually use online technologies as simple as allowing people to upload their photo and their own story as they're making a donation, is you can see people around the world coming together to help complete strangers, and that just creates more hope.